30 years ago, I was a part of an organization, a Black Student Alliance at El Centro College, where in the same area where the most recent atrocities have occurred in Dallas. At El Centro College, we got together and we were dealing with race relations even then. And with the support of Dr. Wright Lassiter and Reverend Glover from SMU, we built a lot of momentum. We had a packed auditorium. We met on Wednesdays, and there was a lot of progress socially from those meetings. Now, there was an opportunity during one of our meetings to have a white gentleman talk to me about what made us different. In my job, I was burdened with the task of sharing our similarities. He was mid to late 40s, early 50 years old. I was about 20 years old. And he started by saying, well, obviously I'm white and you're black. I said, yes, but we're both men. He said, I'm old and you are young. I said, yes, but we're both still growing and learning and maturing. He said that you probably like rap music better than country western music. I said, yes, but we both like music and we like the sounds of instruments. He said, you are probably an athlete. I said, yes, but do you like sports? He said, yes. I said, what is your favorite sports team? He said, the Dallas Cowboys. I asked him, was he a father? He said, yes. I said, we have even those things in common. I am also a fan of the Cowboys. So every Sunday we're putting on the same jersey, rooting for the same team. But even if a Dallas Cowboy fan sat next to a Washington Redskin fan, even if they were pulling in opposite directions for their team to win, why would that result in some evil act, one against the other? It shouldn't. When has there been a time when the Cowboy fan couldn't sit and enjoy the same event with the New Orleans Saint fan or the Philadelphia Eagle fan? What I'm suggesting to you, brothers and sisters, is not a new conversation. I just want to state a few facts and remind you of a few things. And then you can sort it out however you wish. But this thing that we are fighting, it's not a person. We're not fighting against people. We're not fighting against a group of people. We're fighting against a thing. And this thing keeps us divided against each other. See, as long as we're divided against each other, this thing has an advantage over us. You have to know that there has always been black people and white people. This is a fact. There's always been gays and lesbians, racism and weapons. These are the facts. But the thing that we're fighting creates the illusion that these are new problems and issues. The thing that we're fighting, it keeps us confused about who we are and how we should treat one another. And if you notice, I didn't say this thing has any effect on what we believe. Because believe it or not, we have never agreed on what we should believe. We know that Sunday morning is the most segregated time of the week. And so we've never even been on one accord when it came to what we believe, because what you believe is far less important than how you treat someone else. If you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, brothers and sisters, this thing that we are fighting, it promotes zero respect for authority, zero respect for the office of the White House of the United States. Zero respect for police officers and law enforcement in general. This thing that we're fighting promotes zero respect in the classroom towards our teachers and educators. This thing that we're fighting, it promotes zero respect of parents, zero respect for the very laws by which we are governed. We're not fighting against a group of people. We're not fighting against a hashtag. We're not fighting against a tweet or a Facebook post. We're fighting against a thing. This thing has you arguing and debating over 3 words: Black Lives Matter. That's a very correct statement. This thing has you arguing over 3 other words: All Lives Matter. That's also a correct statement. What's the problem? Now, if someone says save the whales, do you then jump up and say, what about the dolphins and the jellyfish? Well, if the whales are being killed at a rate that would affect the ecosystem, then we might need to start putting some more protection around the whales. Now, I'm not trying to make light of the subject, but what I'm trying to do is to paint a very clear picture based on fact. The fact is, men and women have always been here, and men and women have lived together for centuries. We live in the same house, we live in the same room, we sleep in the same bed, yet we still don't completely and fully understand one another as men and women. We don't always agree as men and women. It is our differences, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here's an announcement. It is our differences, when we combine them, that's where we benefit. It's not a matter of the melting pot as it was described. The American objective was described as a melting pot, because then something has to assimilate and something has to change. No, it's more of the tossed salad objective, where the different ingredients maintain their own individual flavor, but together make a very nice blend. Yes, but this thing won't allow us to carry out that objective. This thing that we are fighting, it would allow us to invest billions of dollars in a space program designed to go out and look for potentially other life forms that are not like you and me, that do not share the same oxygen that we breathe, but we can justify spending billions of dollars to find other life forms that God only knows what color they are. They might even glow in the dark. But we're not investing the same amount of money in race relations so that we can walk across the street and find commonalities and common grounds with people in which we breathe the same air. If you think about the fact of what happens to a man or a woman who has to go and fight in a war, whether we're talking about the World War I or World War II or the Vietnam War or the Desert Storm, something that we now call post-traumatic stress disorder. If you believe that it's real, then if you believe that it has a deep effect on a person's psyche, and that it might deserve and require counseling, then maybe we should consider that for what happened during the civil rights movement, when for a decade there was bloodshed in the street. There was the same thing that you're seeing every other week on TV was happening every day during the 60s, right leading into the early 70s. Yes, it's not anything new, but we've never addressed it. Where was the counseling for the post-civil rights movement participants? Whether it was guilt for not helping, or whether it was guilt for causing some of the harm onto others, or for being a victim of the civil rights movement, losing family members and friends. Where was the counseling? No, I'm saying that this conversation, this thing is bigger than a white police officer shooting a black man. No, this thing gives us ease to kill a black man. It makes it easy. Why does it seem like it's easier to kill a black man? And I say a black man being killed by a white police officer because the same thing allows a black man to kill and shoot and kill a black man just in the street over an argument. But it's the same person being killed across racial lines, be it from a white police officer or be it from his brother, the black man. Why is it so easy to kill him? Let me say it this way. Why is it so easy to kill us? I didn't use the word racism. I didn't use the word hate. I used the word ease. Is it because we as black people have promoted and campaigned that we are thugs for the last 30 years? We did that. We did that. Now, we know what the history books suggest. We know that Hollywood painted the black man's image in a very negative light, but over the past 30 years, we went out of our way to campaign ourselves and promote and market and brand ourselves as thugs and gangsters. When I was a child growing up, I thought the gangsters were the Italian guys. You're looking at me. What are you looking at me? That guy. The Sicilians. No, we wanted to wear that title as gangsters and thugs. Why? It couldn't have been out of long-term thinking or good common sense. But we did a wonderful job funding and promoting and marketing ourselves as thugs. So we need real action and not rhetoric. We don't need to say things like we need to solve the problem. No, we need to identify the problem and give it a name, and its name is evil. If you could send me information on who I could contact to break grounds on a program that would offer counseling, 24/7 hotline, just like the suicide hotline, for people who just need to talk it out, to try to diffuse the next inevitable occurrence, because we can't act like this is a one-time deal. It's going to continue. We have people who are retirees. They have experience in grief counseling, in race relations. They are former city council people. They are former law enforcement, former neighborhood watch committee members. They're former teachers. They have the experience in dealing with people. We need all hands on deck. Whoever you know that could help me gain some momentum on such a project, please send me their information. We're not going to use words like sick or deranged. We're going to call it what it is. It's evil. I'm telling you now that I'm fighting against evil. If you know that I'm fighting against evil, what side of that line do you stand on? And are you still willing to fight against me?